Derek O'Brien, quizmaster and author, makes it clear he's not appearing as a Trinamool Congress leader tonight. Thank you. Miss Indira Jaising, great to have you on the program. Derek O'Brien is being joined by Shobhaa, author and columnist. Sankarshan Thakur is joining us this evening. Kavita Srivastava, thank you very much. Rahul Singh there on the bottom right of your screen is a senior journalist. He has been associated with Tehelka in the past. We make that disclosure. And Aishwarya Bhati is an advocate on record in the Supreme Court. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I begin by asking you here, Shobhaa, question goes out to you. There's an attempt by some people to call it sexual harassment. This is not harassment. This is not harassment, is it?
Certainly not.
This is not misconduct.
Certainly not, Arnab. And I'm glad that not at all. And I'm so happy that Indira Jaising has put it into perspective. Let's call it what it is. It is a crime. It's a very serious crime. He is accused of attempted rape, which it indeed sounds like, and he must face the music. So this question of trying to cover it all up and whatever he may say is self-imposed vanvas, which he's giving himself, a paid vacation and so on, is completely ludicrous. It is nonsensical to even have that in the public domain as a kind of letting himself off that easily. He has to face the law. And Shobhaa is no less guilty. I'm sorry. She is a woman. She is a mother. She heads this organization. She's covering up for her boss.
Yeah.
She is not apologizing to the victim. She is not standing by the victim. She's not standing by other women in her organization. She's letting women down. And this is a lady who projects herself as a crusader, as an activist who often has unearthed stories, injustice and so on. But when it comes to your own backyard, we see a completely different set of standards. It's unacceptable. And a mere apology from Tarun, which it isn't even that, is simply not enough.
No, who is Tarun to give an apology here? You know, Tarun lacks any ground to be giving an apology here. And the fact of the matter is, I go across to Derek O'Brien next, that what happened in this case is, and I'll go with the logic presented right here. I like Indira Jaising said, I'm not going into the lurid details of this incident. Only suffice to say, and I can say this with certainty to all our viewers, that if any of you had access to what exactly had happened on those days of the 7th and 8th of November 2013, then what Mr. Tarun Tejpal did is far below disgusting. And Tarun Tejpal cannot just say, I'm going to atone for it or lacerate myself and use that kind of language. Because what he did, Derek O'Brien, is that he, after, there were 2 attempts at sexual assault. And after the first attempt at sexual assault, when she's pushed back, when she pushes him back and when she objects, he says, and I'm only putting this part, he says, and I quote, "This is the easiest way for you to keep your job." So here is a person who attempts rape and then tells his victim, this is the easiest way for you to keep your job. I don't know today, Derek, that why some sections of the media are being so careful and cagey with what they reveal about the manner in which this man, Tarun Tejpal, has carried out this act and what he did after that. But what is your take, Derek?
Yeah. I won't go into the details of the case because I think Shobhaa, right at the top of your program just now, made those points about this case. So that's, let's take that as read. But Arnab, I think what you just said, you used a quote. I think the bigger picture there is that people, men especially, sometimes women, but mostly men, in positions of power, and to me, that's the big issue. Men, mostly men in positions of power, want to use that power to exploit or to demand sexual favors. I think that is the biggest problem here. That is the biggest problem here. And after all this, and that's what upset me more in the morning, that first one is bad enough, and then this sanctimonious letters, that makes it even worse. And I think this is where we have to give a lot of credit, I believe, to the social media. Because the real buzz, there was an attempted closure maybe last night. I agree with you. But the way the social media, the way the social media exploded, and I can tell you, I've been talking to guest coordinators of television channels today, and when you've asked some of your guests to come, they've either said they've gone to Singapore, or they are busy in Delhi, or they've gone
Oh
to the
yes, well said. I'm glad you said that tonight, Derek.
This is the
Let's
time.
speak openly tonight. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, Derek. 100%. I want to back what you said because
this is the time. This is the time where Lutyens Delhi and the cozy
closes
club
in on himself.
has to get out of that cozy club.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I like what Shobhaa they said. You have to, if something's happening in your own backyard. Now listen, one more point, Arnab, you know, forget about this case because I think this is one case. I don't mean forget about it, but
no, we'll go into details of this case.
Here's the story. Here's the story. A 58-year-old uncle molests an 18-year-old girl. Now what happens? The aunt comes along and says, hey uncle, you did a very bad thing. You can't enter my house for the next 1 year. After 1 year you come. It's a family, I mean, you know, this is not some family issue. This is, and actually, you know, Arnab, why I'm so passionate about this, besides the fact that I have an 18-year-old daughter, I myself was molested on a Calcutta bus when I was 13. I didn't talk about it till way after I got married. Because, you know, I think so more girls, more men, more girls, whoever, if this happens to you, you have to come out and shame the guys who do it.
You know, this is...
I was actually molested on a bus.
Well, I'm glad you're speaking up, Derek.
You know, I was on a bus in South Calcutta after a tennis game, coaching. I was in short pants. I was a boy of 12 or 13, and there is a man in the bus who, I didn't know what was going on, but when I got off the bus, I mean, he had ejaculated on my shorts. And it took me 12, 13 years to live, to keep that in me. And I had two brothers who I couldn't tell. When I grew up, I was 25, 26, I started talking about this incident. So I think we have laws, we have committees of Vishakha committee, that all that is very important. But you need more girls like that woman in the lift who stood up.
You know, first of all, Derek, I thank you for sharing that experience. It's difficult, what you've been through, and to talk about it. I'm glad you're talking about it. I'm prefacing this tonight that we are all human beings talking to each other. We're not politicians or any point, you know, representing institutions.
No.
You know,
no.
I find the hypocrisy shocking, Sankarshan. For me, the worst thing in all of this, one is the fact that these are journalists who should know. Journalists know the exact provisions of Indian Penal Code, section 375, the circumstances under which a man is said to commit rape. And if these journalists and these editors don't know, then they should not be doing the job. But I want to read out a little part about what Shobhaa Chaudhary writes, which you know, throws this incident up as so totally hypocritical. Shobhaa Chaudhary writes on the 9th of January 2013, Sankarshan. She writes, rape is the most underreported crime in India. Listen to this. And beneath that courses a whole other universe of violence that's not even acknowledged. It's not just the psychopathic men in a rogue white bus who can be rapists. Listen to this, Derek. It's fathers, husbands, brothers, uncles, friends. And 1 in every 2 women would have a story. Perhaps told, perhaps untold, of being groped, molested, or raped in the confines of their own homes. And listen to this, Sankarshan. This is what Shobhaa Chaudhary writes 8-9 months back. She writes, if they dare speak of it at all, they are told to bury and bear it. Take it as part of life. What hypocrisy. And then today, when Shobhaa Chaudhary is asked, why do you call this, why do you let this man decide his own punishment? Then she says, you know, are you an aggrieved party? She says to the journalist, Sankarshan, are you an aggrieved party? What do you think?
Well, Arnab, you know, this is a deeply distressing and very, very angry moment for me, not least because I edited Tehelka for the first 5 years since it became the magazine.
Yes.
And I know of some very, very good, hard-working, talented journalists on the floor who are still very shocked, stigmatized. So that's a separate story, not least because the victim at one point played in my lap as a toddler years and years ago. But the way that Tehelka, Tarun and Shobhaa have decided to process their reaction is nothing short of astounding. I mean, it just astounds me. Tehelka has led with the torch all the way, and for me to see Shobhaa today asking the media, are you the aggrieved party?
Oh God.
I mean, does the media go out seeking questions only because it's an aggrieved party? We don't need literature at this moment.
Well
All
said.
we need is justice done for an invasive violation. A crime has happened. That crime has not been contested. It has only met with 2 or 3 sheets of prose. I'm sorry. What am I to say? What am I to say?
Speak up, Sankarshan. This is the time for the media to speak up.
What is one to say? This is the most shameful kind of conduct that we have seen on display.
Arnab, there is much to be said, and it
media,
has to
you
be
constantly ask me. You constantly ask people to come out and face questions.
Yes.
You constantly ask people to come out and face charges.
Yeah.
And here you are asking the media, are you the aggrieved party? Are you the aggrieved party?
Yeah.
That's shocking. This kind of cover up, and I know.
And you know what she says. You know what she says. This hypocrisy. She says, are you the aggrieved party? One sec. And she says, it's not a case, sir, unless you know more than I do. Rahul Singh.
Oh my God.
She says it's not a case, sir, unless you know more than what I do. And
Arnab,
it's there. It's there on the screen.
Arnab, let me also say this.
Yes,
Arnab,
Arnab, let me also complete this. Just let me complete this. I also know, and I'm very, very disturbed and upset to hear of the efforts over the last 2 days or 3 days on the Tehelka edit floor to fix this, somehow fix this. Bury it under the carpet. This cannot be done. Inexcusable, unpardonable action has to come.
And I'd say this, Sankarshan, this is the time to really speak up. One feels strongly when there are allegations of corruption, and some of them with some evidence or whatever behind them against media, but when there is action, when there is action of moral depravity like this, and Shobhaa Chaudhary says covering up for Tehelka.
Why should there be this impression?
Yeah, we don't need literature. You can do away with literature.
Why should be this impression that the media is removed? It is some moral entity which is above the law, on the side of the law. We are part of the same
we are the
society,
media.
and we have to
I said we. Let there be a new media in this country, Sankarshan, that applies stricter standards to itself than it does to the people who it judges, and then it will win the respect of the people. And one sec, Rahul Singh has raised his hand a couple of times. I want to tell our viewers what Shobhaa Chaudhary says in her email is that this is an untoward incident. Rahul Singh, untoward incident. And then she goes on to say, though he has extended an unconditional apology to the colleague involved. In other words, an unconditional apology ought to be enough, but Mr. Tarun Tejpal is going one step forward, and because, he's a generous man, he's offering to recuse himself for 6 months and come straight back after that. Rahul Singh, what's going on? And also, you've been involved with Tehelka, maybe you can tell our viewers about that in the beginning.
No, Arnab, let me correct you. I have never been associated with Tehelka, but somebody mentioned, I think Derek O'Brien, about the greater picture. The greater picture is being lost here. The greater picture is that Tehelka has done a great public service for this country. We must remember that not so long ago, when there was a certain government in power, they did a sting operation which showed that the president of a certain party was
that's not even the issue tonight, Mr. Rahul Singh. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Rahul Singh, but with great respect to your seniority, I'd like to say this. This has absolutely nothing. And if Tehelka has carried out the sting operation exposing Bangaru Lakshman, that's zero argument, Mr. Rahul Singh. in the context of this particular case? No, there is no bigger picture. There's the case of attempted rape. That's the bigger picture.
Exactly. Exactly. And the language that's being used is a language of arrogance, not remorse.
Absolutely.
It's compounding.
No,
it's adding insult to injury.
I don't defend Tarun Tejpal over what's happened. All I'm saying is don't destroy an institution.
But that's not even a concern tonight. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Rahul Singh. 1 second.
Yeah.
Other than the actions.
Yes, Sankarshan.
I'm saying nobody is destroying that institution. The people who are destroying the institution is the person who built it. I mean, I'm not destroying Tehelka.
Exactly.
I have great fondness for the kind of work they have done in the past. I am not responsible for destroying Tehelka. And my heart goes out to all the hard-working, talented journalists who are still on the Tehelka floor and who will take this stigma because Tehelka and Tarun are virtually the same thing. He's so identified with the name.
Yes.
We are not. I am not destroying Tehelka.
Arnab.
I'm sorry.
They are self-destructing.
I think Derek wanted to come in. No, one second. No, one second. No, first of all,
they are self-destructing.
First of all, Mr. Rahul Singh, as I said, with great respect to your seniority and your experience, I think with the utmost of respect, you've got it all wrong in this case. We are talking here about a man who has attempted rape. And we are talking about a colleague of his who describes it as an untoward incident. We are not discussing Tehelka. We are discussing the conduct of two individuals, and they ought to be responsible individuals. It's an office like any other office. Tomorrow, if in the world's biggest organization, tomorrow, for example, in the world's biggest billion-dollar organization, the head of the organization attempts rape, right? Will you come on television and say that, you know what, there's a lot of good work? I mean, Bill Clinton had done a lot of good work before the Monica Lewinsky affair happened. Did people say, let's not destroy the White House? There's no argument, Mr. Rahul Singh, but Derek wants to respond to you. Derek.
No, the moral responsibility has to be taken.
Of course.
Moral responsibility must be taken.
Of course. Derek O'Brien.
Bottom line.
But there's a much bigger...
No, 1 second. 1 second. By the way, we're getting a phone call right now, and... Some people want to respond on be part of this debate. I'm not taking too many calls, but we are going to get some people who are messaging me saying we want to respond to Rahul Singh. We'll try and get them on the phone. Derek O'Brien, yes, go ahead.
Arnab, this discussion and what has happened in the last 10 days has got nothing to do with the brand equity of Tehelka. That's a totally separate issue. Yes, the brand has been battered with something like this. This is an issue about misuse of people in power seeking a rape or attempted rape and demanding sexual favors. This is the issue. And after that, sending out sanctimonious letters to hope for a closure.
Yeah.
I've had Tarun Tejpal on my show.
It's about abuse of power.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had Tarun Tejpal on my Bonvita quiz contest as a special guest. As children who look up to many years ago because he is equated with the brand Tehelka. So that's not the issue at all. It is what has happened to this lady. And I think the other quick point I want to make, Arnab, is in all this can be, as responsible viewers and everyone on Twitter and Facebook, leave Mr. Tejpal's daughter out of this, because there's so much on the social. She has nothing to do with this. Give that young lady her privacy.
Yes,
totally.
Leave the family aside, please.
No, this is not. This is about accountability.
Absolutely, leave the family aside.
This is simply about accountability. And Mr. Rahul Singh, may I warn you, don't try and politicize this. This has nothing to do with politics or journalism or what they have done in the past.
It is other parties that are politicizing it. It's not me.
You are looking at please, Mr. Rahul, please. Nothing can, we've got Smriti Irani, she wants to respond to you on the phone line. 1 second. Kavita Srivastava, I'm coming to you in a minute. Now, I just want to say one thing. To Smriti Irani wants to call in and respond to you, Rahul Singh. She messaged me. But I want to say this, that she's not calling in today as a politician. I preface this. She's calling in as a mother and she has something to say to you. Smriti Irani, go ahead.
I think with all due respect to the seniority and age of Mr. Rahul Singh, any woman who hears the comment that he has made vis-a-vis the institution called Tehelka She needs to understand that this is exactly the pressure that victims undergo every time they are assaulted. They are told that this is not an issue wherein they can withstand the pressure as a woman or as an individual, when especially a man in power assaults them and outrages their modesty. So my request to Mr. Rahul Singh is that the issue here tonight is the fact that a girl was assaulted, a girl who pleaded with a man in power to let her be and to lead a life with dignity, a girl who was told that unless she succumbs to this sexual assault, she will not be able to carry on with her job. As a woman tonight, I would want to express my utter disgust with what Mr. Tarun Tejpal did. And my request to Mr. Rahul Singh is, kindly do not certify this kind of a criminal behavior in any manner whatsoever.
Yeah, well said, Smriti. I think
that... certify it.
No.
I did not certify it in any way. All I said was that certain parties are trying to politicize.
No, I won't let you politicize it, Mr. Rahul Singh. Shobhaa, I know you have to go. Give us 2 more minutes because I want you to hear what Kavita Srivastava said. I want you to respond to that. And I know you have another TV show to go to. But Smriti Irani, thank you very much. Shobhaa, you want to add something to that? Kavita, I'm so sorry for coming to you late, which I'm just about to in a minute. But because Shobhaa has to go, I'll take her comment.
No, I'm just disheartened at the way this discussion is going, because we are missing the whole point, which is that a criminal act has been committed and not just one person but 2 people are involved in it, including Shobhaa. We have to insist on making that comparison and to the message that they're sending out, and media has a double responsibility. It's not to be judged like any other incident, and that he's abused his power, threatened a young girl. There are veiled threats in saying this is the easiest way to keep your job.
Keep your job.
All of this adds up to something which is beyond depravity. And it's time to call a spade, and if music has to be faced, Tarun Tejpal, be a man and face that music as you have expected others to in the past. All the various people that you have gone after, investigated and shown up for what they are, you've shown yourself up for what you are, and I think take that moral responsibility, resign and face the charges as any other person in India would be expected to
do. Kavita Srivastava.
And you're not writing 50 shades of grey to talk about atonement and laceration and all the rest of it. We're not writing a lurid novel here. This is real life. A victim has been deeply hurt.
It appears to me, Shobhaa, that there was an attempt at writing out a script on how the Tarun Tejpal and some others would have wanted this to play out. Now that script is being questioned, and it will, because Kavita Srivastava, this is not sexual harassment.
It is a shame.
Sexual harassment is physical contact and advances, demand for sexual favors, sexually colored remarks, showing pornography or any other unwelcome physical, non-verbal conduct of a sexual nature. From the description of what this girl has been through, this is not sexual harassment according to the Vishaka guidelines.
Absolutely. The kind of description that the girl has given, clearly it is rape under the new law.
Yeah.
Under the old law, it would have been an attempt to rape, but under the new law, it's rape. It's 376(1). I mean, that's the punishment, which is 7 years minimum. So absolutely, I mean, it's a crime. It is a very serious offense. That is why we are all upset that Tarun Tejpal is getting away by saying that I'll get out of this place by 6 months. I'm accepting I've done a wrong, but I will get out of it. No, I don't think that is the way you will get out of it.
Oh, yes.
Because the girl has the right to seek the remedies she wishes to seek. The first remedy that she wanted, and she's written in a letter, is an independent inquiry. Why was the independent inquiry not had? You know, so I hope they're going to have it now.
No,
that independent inquiry is very important.
What?
It's within
Arnab.
1 minute. It's within the legal framework. It's within the legal framework that inquiry is very important. And the other is, since Goa police already has all the material and they can begin the investigation. If the girl gives a statement, then the proceeding of 375 or whatever, 376 can move. But the girl will have to give her statement, because it is her statement which will...
Kavita. You see,
Arnab,
the question here is, let's just get Aishwarya Bhatti's point of view. I haven't gone to her yet. She's the advocate on record in the Supreme Court. She has a different perspective on this. My question is, by the way, Derek, I want to say this to all viewers tonight. Yes, a lot of people said no to coming on Newshour tonight. A lot of people who like to speak up on gender issues, on issues related to women, on issues related to violence against women, a lot of people who speak very politically correct language on many occasions and who take public positions on these issues, these people, a lot of these people, I'm just not naming them, said no to coming on Newshour tonight, which is why a question goes out. If somebody influential in Lutyens, Delhi and a mover and shaker in Lutyens, Delhi is accused of such a case and a lot of people chicken out of television debates, those people to look themselves tonight in the mirror and say, how honest have they been to their own conscience? My question to Aishwarya Bhatti is this. The Vishaka guidelines make it absolutely clear that if the harassment falls within the purview of a section of the IPC, then the onus is on the employer to initiate action and lodge a complaint, right?
Yeah.
Now, shouldn't Shobhaa Chaudhary, as the managing editor, whoever is responsible in the management, if not her, as the person who received the girl's complaint, have done so in this case? On the contrary, what we are hearing here is an attempt to bury the case by saying the girl is satisfied with the action taken.
No, I absolutely agree with you. This is what has been laid down by the Supreme Court in the Vishaka guidelines, and that is what is required to be done. In fact, I'm appalled myself at the whole affair, that the way it is being played out, instead of taking criminal action as well as action under the Vishaka guidelines, the manner in which this whole issue is being wrapped up, it is just not right, and it is completely contrary to, in fact, I would go ahead and say that it is contrary to the very concept of rule of law. Because rule of law prescribes that a person cannot prescribe or choose a punishment for himself.
Yes.
And the manner in which Mr. Tejpal has been doing it, it is completely contrary to the concept of rule of law.
Yeah, and you know, there's another point here, Sankarshan, which Mr. Rahul Singh, you know, who's giving a certificate to Tehelka because of other reasons, should also look at. The Supreme Court has said, Sankarshan, that even if the victim has not lodged a complaint, which is why what Shobhaa Chaudhary is saying is rubbish and what Tarun Tejpal is trying to get away with is heinous. The Supreme Court has ruled out compromise in rape cases. Rape is a non-compoundable offence. I am quoting, it is an offence against society. It is not a matter. It is not a matter to be left for the parties to compromise and settle. So even if the attempt is, there is an attempt to say, there's been a compromise reached, what's your problem? It goes against the grain of the law, but that's what they are doing here, Sankarshan, in this case. So hypocrisy at multiple levels by a powerful section of the media.
I think hypocrisy is too mild a word for you to use, Arnab.
You can use stronger if you wish.
I really don't know what to say. You know the good work of the Tehelka journalist is there to say, and many more journalists did that good, contributed to that good work. But this act is Tarun's own, and justice has to come to him for this. All this effort at fixing this at the edit flow, it's an internal matter, let's fix this, the girl is happy, we will brush it under the carpet, this should not go out of don't question us, are you the aggrieved party? I mean, this is the most, what should I say, this is the most shameless kind of cover-up that has been on display, and the irony is it comes from Tehelka, which has made its name lifting the covers of a great many good and big stories.
Yeah, but absolutely.
That is, which is why, when you stand on a pedestal and question the whole world, and then when it comes to you being questioned, you just lock yourself in a house and are not available to answer. And then you say, I am doing penance. As I was saying earlier, we don't want literature. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know. The question will also be asked, is someone who is helping someone get away with this, that person too, if aware of the evidence, what action will be taken against them? Because it should be established whether that was done innocently or with an act of complicity. And this is all knowing behavior.
In the rightness of things, the rightness of things, Arnab, let me finish this. In the rightness of things, Arnab, the editors of Tehelka should have gone and reported the incident the moment they got to know of it. They sat on it for days. more than a week. They got into a panic only when...
And what were they doing for over a week? No, what were they doing for over a week?
Together and wrote that email.
You see...
Yeah.
Yes,
it is only when this...
Arnab.
And they knew about it. Yes, Derek.
Traumatized girl gets her wits together and writes that email, and someone in the Tehelka floor gets to know that there might be CCTV recordings of it, then that is when they panic.
Only when you realize the emails are out, which is why Shobhaa Chaudhary was looking very angry in talking about the emails being leaked. So you get all worked up when the emails are being leaked, and then you get into this self-righteous indignation, which unfortunately some members of Lutyens Delhi are permanently afflicted with. You know, that they get morally upset when somebody points out their own double standards. Yes, Derek.
Arnab.
See, Arnab, firstly, I believe that the Goa police at this stage should not act suo moto. It's the girl's call. The girl who has been through this, had this horrible experience. It's her call as to whether she wants to press the charges or not, and they should let her have that independence. Let it be her call when she is comfortable. 1. 2. In such a horrid event like this, the only positive I can see is that more companies to follow the Vishaka committee. If you're employing more than 10 people, please set up this Vishaka guidelines committee. That will help. I'll make a candid admission. My colleagues are 60 people. We don't have a Vishaka committee in our office.
Well, we have it, Derek.
After today's incident, we'll get one. We don't. We have a small company of 60. We don't. 1 minute. And the last issue which has been difficult for me, I'll make another candid admission. My wife knows the lady who is the managing editor. They were friends from childhood. It's been very difficult. They knew each other. They've been out of touch. It's been very difficult for me this morning actually to come out, because I said, no, we must speak. So I think this is the other message. If you really believe that, you know, otherwise this cozy friend circle can become a very dangerous thing, and I'm a little new to this. So I'm also quite disappointed that I got too many calls today saying, hey, Derek, this is not a big political issue. This is not some alliance. Why do you want to go on television?
No, but you know, 1 second. This in the case, 1 second. 1 minute. No, 1 second. You say they can't take action. Then I'll just give you one example. If I'm not mistaken, the Surat police took suo moto FIR in the Asaram case. So on the question of whether it can be done, it can be done. And it can be done. No, you can't. No,
I'm not saying it cannot be done.
It can.
Arnab,
Kavita, what do you think, Kavita?
My personal view is...
Kavita, no, let's get Kavita's perspective also on that.
Call. Let her be comfortable where she wants to take this.
No, you can't put it only on the girl, you know, because in the absence of a complaint to so serious a charge, there are all kinds of questions will be asked. You cannot say the victim is satisfied with the action taken and that's it. In several cases...
No, not at all.
No, you can't do that. There is an example being set here. And it's important for powerful people, especially if those powerful people are in the media, to set an example in this case. And I'm not embarrassed to talk about it. Kavita.
An issue of
See, the police can definitely take cognizance, but the girl has to give her statement to the police and to the magistrate for it to proceed further. So I really think we should give her a little bit of time and space to think clearly about it. And I think maybe she will make up her mind. Secondly, I think that the two organizations that really kept themselves out of implementation of Vishaka is the judiciary and the media. Let me tell you, we were the petitioners of Vishaka. 5 petitioners in the Supreme Court, and we got this order on 13th August 1997, and we went to so many media houses, and I know one big media house in Jaipur said that we are all a family, we don't need this law. So I think the way the young girls are speaking about advocates, about judiciary, you know, I really think it's important. The young girls are coming out, breaking the silence. Let's facilitate it. Let's facilitate it. Let's stand by them. Let's strengthen them. Let's not push them. So we must facilitate it. We have sent messages to the girl. The girl has a group of friends. We have sent messages. Whatever support you need, she just needs to give a statement to the police and the police will take it for a 164.
I'm quoting.
Police can take.
No, I'm quoting.
I really think one minute. This is 1 minute. So the honor and shame framework that cops do, Tehelka cannot do. Tehelka has to look at it as a crime that has been committed within, and that crime is like any other crime. So I think we have to get it out of the honor and shame framework, and then Tarun Tejpal has to face the law. That goes without any, there's no ifs and buts to it.
Tarun Tejpal and Shobhaa Chaudhary may have almost thought that this lapse of reason, lapse of judgment argument would work, which is as big a joke as talking about error of judgment in any other case. My question here is, I am talking about Justice Ranjana Desai and Ranjan Gogoi. I'll tell you what, let's look at what they say, and then I'll get Aishwarya in, she's the lawyer here. Since the court cannot always be assured that the consent given by the victim is a genuine consent, there is every chance she may have been pressurized by the convicts, or the trauma undergone by her all the years might have compelled her to opt for a compromise. In fact, accepting this proposition will put an additional burden on the victim. The accused may use all his influence to pressurize her for a compromise. So in the interest of justice and to avoid unnecessary pressure of harassment to the victim, it would not be safe. It would not be safe in considering the compromise arrived at between the parties in rape cases to be a ground for the court to exercise the discretionary power under the provision of section 376 of the IPC. This whole argument of compromises has been defeated by the Supreme Court of the country, Aishwarya. It doesn't hold. You can't shoot off the victim's shoulder in this case. It's society and all of us who have to decide, how we treat the cases like this.
No, but the girl has to make her statement.
No, I agree, but it's not. You can't say that the girl has no complaint, so move on. The whole argument is girl has no problem, you move on.
Permit me to say this.
Yeah.
Our penal laws specifically categorize offences as cognizable and non-cognizable offences. For that reason itself, they are specified like that. Now, rape and attempt to rape comes into the category of cognizable offences. There is another thing about keeping the identity of the victim private, but cognizable offences, you don't need the person to come out. The information itself is enough. And recently, Supreme Court Constitution Bench has given a judgment that the information of FIR in cognizable offences is a ground enough for the FIR to be registered. That is point number one. And the second point that you made about the statement of the judgment of Justice Ranjana Prakash Desai and Justice Gogoi, if you see the way rape laws have developed in our country, it is incredible. The sanctity that is given to the evidence of the prosecutrix in rape cases is absolutely absolutely balances the whole system. Otherwise, the court and the society realizes, our lawmakers and our law enforcers and our law interpreters realize the fact that women are vulnerable in these situations, and therefore they need this extra protection to come out and speak up.
They should come out and speak up. The Editors Guild of India has just issued a statement. I'd like to read out a small part of it. It says, and this case is becoming stronger and stronger. There is as much anger today at what Tarun Tejpal has done at the attempt at the cover-up that followed the incident from the organization and the individuals involved. It says there should not be any attempt to cover up or play down this extremely serious incident. Self-proclaimed atonement and recusal for a period are hardly the remedies for what the allegations show to be outright criminality.
Absolutely.
Outright criminality. The full force of the law must be brought into this investigation and prosecution. So this has come from the Editors Guild of India. I'm also told that there is a new statement which has come here from Tehelka, which now says we have now constituted a formal complaints committee to be presided over by Urvashi Butalia to investigate the matter. The other members of the committee will be announced shortly, and then they say they will form a committee under the Sexual Harassment of Women Act, an institutional mechanism that was missing in Tehelka. Now that's not enough, Sankarshan. What they are basically saying is we forgot about the sexual harassment policy. Now we'll institute one. Can we move on, please? That's all that they seem to be saying.
I deeply and sincerely hope that Tehelka will live by its claim of being the upholder of right things, an enlightened upholder of the right things, and not behave like a cop. This thing cannot be brought to a closure on the Tehelka edit floor.
Yeah.
Which, on the evidence of what I've heard over the past couple of days, can come very close to being a fixed match. We don't want that.
You know, Sankarshan, I have this little blog from our senior colleague, Rajesh Kalra, senior journalist who we all know and respect. He writes a blog here. Before I ask the last question to Rahul Singh, he says, and I completely endorse this, I think this expresses the view of a lot of journalists like us. It says, however, by that same yardstick, we ourselves must be open to scrutiny. We as in the media must be open to scrutiny.
Absolutely.
2, and be ready to take the blow on the chin. Not doing so amounts to plain double standards, which we are increasingly being accused of. Now, I think what Rajesh says expresses the sentiment of at least a lot of us, not those who pretend to represent all the media, only in certain sections of Lutyens' Delhi. Rahul Singh, having heard all of this, will you be willing to reconsider the kind of position that you took at the beginning, talking only about the work Tehelka has done and the fact that the institution may be affected by this?
No, I stay with my position. I feel that Tehelka has done a great job. I feel that Mr. Tarun Tejpal must stand for whatever he has done. He must be punished for that. But don't kill the magazine which has done such a great job.
I'm sorry, Mr.
I think we...
Yeah, Kavita.
We are not killing the magazine, sir.
I think...
We are not the ones killing the magazine.
Exactly.
I don't know why this is being said by Mr. Rahul Singh.
Mr. Rahul Singh seems to...
I'm bemused.
Yes, I think... So.
Don't forget also...
Kavita.
Don't forget also all that the magazine has exposed. Don't let the political parties.
Oh, please don't make it political. You know, the last thing. I think it would be shameful. I think it is shameful and disgraceful. Now, I must say this to you, to try and defend yourself from a rape charge by talking about the journalism that has been done in the past. I mean, journalism is not a camouflage or a disguise for moral depravity. And I say this to you today with the utmost respect to you, Mr. Rahul Singh. So don't even think of putting that argument forward. I thank everyone for joining me on debate number 1 on the News Hour tonight. Thank you very much.